Man, I'm gonna have to get on that. Alrighty then.
I
I'm
just
I'm just over here clicking buttons. So I'm like, we're live now. I'm like, I think, yeah, yeah. I see the counter. I'm
yeah,
like, okay. Because I clicked the button and it said, "Do you want to start with an intro video?" I'm like, wait a minute, intro video? We could do those?
we could do those.
We could do those now? Weird.
You said we're live, and I looked down to make sure that my name was appropriate.
That's fair. Not like Scooby Doo or something.
Yeah, not like Scooby Doo or
Something else.
I hate Mondays or something, something silly.
Uh, uh, well, I mean, we'll give it a minute because I think
Yeah,
my show's not as popular as what I used to be, but that's okay. Um, okay. So here's the deal. Um, turn that off. Just okay. Gonna find my other phone because my other phone is off too. So Monday Night Coin Talk is specialty collections. So here's some background to what I was thinking. Um, you and I both have a set of specialty coins that we are putting together. And I know that is probably something that others would also do, that they may not collect entire year sets like what we're doing with our books. Maybe something else, but there's probably going to be something very specific that people will look for or go after to basically build like a small specialty set. So what my thought was is that we talk about our specialty sets and like why we're putting them together, because it just goes along with the bigger picture of, hey, this is coin collecting, and there is no right or wrong way to coin collect. It's, being that the collector, the controller of what you want to collect, like it is really up to you to collect however you want to collect. So this just brings more light to a lot of some of the other options on how to collect coins because again, there's no wrong or right way. So that was my thought, and that came to me at about 11:30.
yeah.
I was just I was playing a game and it just kind of hit me, and I was like, that's a really solid topic to talk about, and makes a whole lot of sense because you could go any number of directions with it. So
Right. And that's a valid point when you said there's no right or wrong way of collecting. It's what the individual collector finds as a little like a little niche.
mhm.
All right. So I mean, it could be anything. I don't collect. A collector could go, I'm not collecting any coins unless they're RPMs.
Right.
That's their just little niche in their collection.
Hmm.
So, and that would be a specialty collector.
Yeah.
But I also feel sorry for them trying to put that 1960 D set together too. So,
So, but that is the perfect example of what a specialty collection might be, is somebody who is, effectively putting together a full 1960 Denver RPM set, which there's like 78 or something. There's so many of them. I'm
there's
I'm
two.
I'm I'm sure there's way more than that, but that would be the example, a perfect example of what a specialty collection would be. And again, there's no right or wrong way to collect those things as long as as you like collecting. So, uh, something that Blues and I had talked about, on something that I wanted to put together and something that I've been working on for 5 years, 5 or 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of people know me as the Flying Eagle collector. I am pretty in tune with the Flying Eagles. It's something that I'm always looking at, I'm always looking for. And the one thing that I wanted to do after learning about the Flying Eagle is I wanted to collect them all. Kind of like a modern version of Pokemon, I guess, is I wanted to collect all the different variations, all the different varieties. So what I so I got these awesome books from somebody Christmas. And in here, it's got 22, technically 21 different varieties of the 1857 Flying Eagle. So what I've wanted to put together is because I had the versions prior to this, the spiral versions, and I wanted to put together the full set of varieties for the 1857 Flying Eagle. So what I've been looking at is I was actually able to um, local local Facebook, yeah, local Facebook, is that there was someone selling one of these, which is a Littleton album for Flying Eagle and Indian Head sets, and I was like, you know what, I got it. This is the genius in my brain at that moment in time. I know that Littleton sells blank pages for cents that will go inside their albums. So I was like, this is perfect. I'm gonna get one of these. I'm gonna label it out with the 1857 Flying Eagle varieties, the snows, and then I will have the entire set on one page. At least that was the idea. So I came across a couple of opportunities while I'm building out this collection. Because number one, you need that to go in there. Okay. You're not gonna go in there. All right. Number one, there is at least one of them, which is the Snow 7, which is the big one, that I will not have in raw form. I will specifically only have that one in a graded form. So my one of my thoughts was, okay, so if I put all of them on here, do I leave that one out? Do I leave 8 and 9 out as well? Because they are part of the multi-denominational um and the book is over there. Part of the multi-denominational clashes. So do I include them? Do I leave them out? Then a follow-up question to that was specifically for the Snow 2, which is the obverse of the 1856 design. Do I include all of the variations? Because there are, I think, six. So how do I include those? But then there was a question about, do I include 789? Do I put a token in for ones that I only have in slab form? So there was lots of kind of different questions that I had going through this. So what I did is I basically just talked it through with Blues. And I said, hey, here's my thoughts. Let's talk through this and let's just see what I can come up with. So what I decided as far as what matched the 25 spaces that this has is to have Snow 1, 2, and then all its varieties, and then leave out number 7 because that one I will only have in slab form, I won't have in raw. And what that gave me is that gave me this. So that gave me a full sheet of all of the different snow varieties that are all labeled out, all the way from Snow 1 up here, and to all the variations of Snow 2, all the way down to 22, which is currently in Rick Snell's book of the Flying Eagle varieties. So you can see that I have a bunch of them already. I have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 in this right now out of the 21. 22? No, 21.
21.
Um, but the other thing that I know is that like the Snow 4 right here, which is very common with the Snow 3. I know that I have a Snow 4. I just need to find it because I don't know where it's at. So
Yeah,
I'm sure that there are
yeah.
more coins floating around that I could put in here. Because I believe the last count that I did is that I had 15 of all of the snow varieties out of the 21. So I think I was just missing maybe 7 total. So I'm gonna have to do some digging and figure out where my other snow varieties are. But so now that I have my full page, now I can put it in my book and have my full set as a specialty collection in with my regular collection. So my regular, if I have any regular Flying Eagle, the 1857 Flying Eagle, they will go in these pages, and then this page will go in the back. So
That's so funny.
that is my specialty collection for the 1857 Flying Eagles.
Yeah, I know you got more of those coins floating around somewhere in one of your red boxes or in a flip someplace in craft.
Craft box,
Yeah, one of the craft multi-compartment boxes. Yeah,
like
yeah,
one of those.
yeah. So no, it's funny because CJ. He specializes in the Flying Eagles, and him and I we get online and do hangouts, and we tear up eBay. But years ago, I decided I was not even going to look at Flying Eagles. That is his thing. I'm not going to go in there and rain on his parade.
Poach my territory.
Poach your territory. Kind of like in the same aspect, he doesn't look at a lot of like the early Jefferson Nichols, which is going into one of my specialty collections of the 1939 Jeffersons with the reverse of 38 and the reverse of 30 or 40.
Yep.
So it has been a process. Um, I got most of them in raw form. I am putting together a graded set. And the 39Ds are the big ones. Um, uh, the 39D, the reverse of 38, the original mintage was just over 3 million coins. And PCGS CoinFax has a survival estimate of only 1 million. So they are still out there. And then when you're dealing with the 39D, the reverse of the 1940, the mintage is 3.5, just over 3.5 million, but the survival rate of that particular nickel is 685,000.
Ooh, that's rough.
So that is going to be a little bit more difficult to come across. Not very many of them have been graded, and which kind of hurts me a little bit because there's not a lot of them to be choosing over, which drives the price up for them. So the 39s, those are going to be the epitome of my collection for that. 39S with the reverse of 38 and 39S, the reverse of 40. Both of those, little over 6.6 million produced. Estimate Survival estimate on the 39, the S with the reverse of 38 is just over 2.6 million. And then the 39S with the reverse of 40 is only 665,000. So most of those are gone.
So roughly, how many coins are you looking to put together? Are you looking to put together the reverses of both years for all three
Yes.
years, or
Yes, I am looking to do a graded and a raw form of the 39, the 39D, the 39S with the reverse of 38 and 40. And
so are you okay? Okay.
in the last one I just picked up, I picked up the 39S with the reverse of 38.
So you
And
need 6 coins?
I
Or am
need
I
I need 3 to complete the set. I need a 39D, both of them, which is the one of the big ones,
okay?
and the 39S reverse of 40, which is
So
all.
in the reverses, how many coins total would that set? Is that 6 coins total?
It'd be six total coins,
Okay.
but they're when you look at the book, like the Dansko albums and stuff, they don't have a spot for the reverses.
Right.
They just have 39, 39D, 39S. The reverses is the specialty part of it.
Okay.
So I taped a little envelope to the inside of my Jefferson book, and I got my raw form ones in the flip and marked.
Okay.
So when you look at the book, you see the envelope, you'll you'll see that all the different reverse types are there, but there's not a spot in the book for the different reverse types.
Right, because it's a specialty. So what made you want to collect what what made you want to collect them all? Like on the different reverses.
Um, it originally started out, and I was just putting the Jefferson Nichols set together. And then when I came across the different reverses, and I'm like, well, it's not a complete set without them. But in a way, it's also like a like a subset, I guess,
Yeah.
in layman's terms. So yeah, I could get a 39, 39D, and a 39S, put it in the book, and go, that year's done. But I'm missing 6 coins.
Right, because there are different years. There is coins with different reverses. There we go. Words are
Mm-hmm.
hard. Which is
Which,
like the thing that kind of like that kind of gets me just thinking is like when we look at these coins in these specialty sets, you know, that we're working on, it reminds me of the information when I was researching for the 20-cent coin video. Um, and that it showed the breakout of where the mint mark is or the type of mint mark to what die it was, so that
mm-hmm.
you could actually, depending on what the mint mark looked like, you could actually match it up to the specific die pairing. And I feel like that's like it's along the same lines of, you know, of finding the different obverses or the different reverses as they are paired with the obverses when you're looking at some of these Jeffersons. Like it's not quite there, but I feel like it's definitely along the same line.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
So
got?
this is what I was talking about, the reverse of the 38 and the reverse of the 40. The reverse of 40 is a much better, stronger die. When they printed them, you could see it has much stronger defined steps on it. And all the research and all the comparing that I've done, I've also noticed that the columns, especially in the corners, are a lot sharper. How these are just kind of just you got a it's got a nice angle and stuff on it, but it kind of just looks a little mushy. And but the
Yeah.
columns are also much sharper on them. And then the big thing is when you're looking and you're trying to find them is the steps. The steps are going to be much more well defined. So you could pretty much just pick them out that way. I mean, as long as you're looking at a decent looking coin that's not been sitting in dirt and mud for since 1940.
Hasn't been run over in the parking lot 47 times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That coin. Yeah, that Walmart coin.
That Walmart parking lot coin.
That Walmart park.
So the way that I understood the different reverses is that the reverse of 38 is kind of what I would think is like the the rough draft as it were, or like the first draft. Because jet I mean exactly to your point, the reverse of 40 is much more intricate, much more detail, and those edges of the steps to really define, like that is a as long as the coin has detail. um I'm not sure if there is a grade level that would subtract the level of detail that you would need. I don't know if it's going to be XF or VF or something below that point that would obliterate this particular design element, but that side step with that cut in between the steps and like the side railing, as it were,
Mm-hmm.
that is a very distinctive piece that I would look for if I was looking at the reverse of the Jefferson nickel, because that to me is an extremely defining piece to determine the difference between a 38 and a 40.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I keep this picture when I'm going through my nickels. I always have this picture up because even though I could still pick them out just by looking at them in the loop or the scope,
Yeah.
I always verify with 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 a picture to make sure. Even though, like I said, I'm real comfortable at going. That's a reverse of 38. That's a reverse of 38. I could probably be 199.8% right, but I always have this picture up to verify to make sure I'm not missing it because some of these reverses are they're hard. They're not rare, but they can be hard to come by, especially with the estimated population of survival out there.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because especially when you're looking at 3 million to 1 million, so like 30% of the original, or 3 million down to 600 plus thousand. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty significant drop in the survivability of these coins. Like that's on par with some of the other obsolete coinage that we've seen.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I mean, I love the Jeffersons to death, and love learning about them. I love collecting them. I love looking at them. Um, Book is almost getting complete. Um, the early stuff for my graded collection is almost getting complete. So been trying to really concentrate on the early stuff while the prices are still a little soft on them. And I do think the Jefferson nickel pricing is a little soft on them right now. So I don't I don't think the collectors that are looking at these coins, I don't think they're really understanding the the mint numbers and the estimated survival rates and seeing that, oh my goodness, there was 6 million of these made. Now there's only 600,000 of them known or estimated to be alive. So they are getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Yeah, population, the population of these coins, especially survivability, is going to play a really big part. I see definitely some future, probably future market increase if that becomes more well known. Um, because that's the thing that's, that drives value on um like the 20-cent coins. Like it's the whole fact that, so many of them were pulled back and melted that drives the price on them.
Yeah.
Just because of the history of them. Talk about your 2009 Lincoln set.
Oh my goodness.
Because I have thought about this one, and I think you have like the cleanest just thought process and intentionality behind the 2009 Lincolns that I would just really love for everybody to hear, because you have definitely taken it on a level that is far, far ahead of me.
Yeah, the 2009, it's the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent.
Yes.
So there's some nice historical facts with that. And the U.S. Mint, I mean, they came out with the birth and early childhood, the
Mm-hmm.
formative years,
Yep.
the professional life, and president.
Presidency.
And the complete 2009 set is a 20 coin set.
And so talk about why it's a 20 coin set, because most people will say, well, what are you talking about? That's only 4 coins.
Right.
But go into specifically why, if you wanted to put a complete 2009 set together, why it's 20 coins.
Okay. So we'll just use the 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 birth and early childhood.
Okay.
This is going to apply to the formative years, the professional life, and the presidency.
Okay.
So they came out with a 2009 business strike,
Yes.
right? 284 million produced,
PND.
right? So that'd be the 2009 P.
Okay.
They have a 2009 D business strike
Mm-hmm.
at 350 million.
Okay.
They have a 2009, it'll be P, but that's satin finish,
Okay.
and that is 780,000,
That sounds about right.
right? And then they have a 2009 D satin finish at 784, somewhere around there, thousand.
Okay.
And both the satin finishes are copper.
And that is a nod to the original production of the Lincoln cent that was a copper bronze.
Right. So it's 95%
composition.
copper, 5% zinc, and tin.
Hmm.
All right. And then they have the 2009 S proof, which is also in copper.
Okay.
And they had a mentions of them at just shy of 3 million.
Okay. So
So
that's 5 coins for one design.
5 coins for one design. So in the formative years, it's the same thing. They got the P&D business strike. They
Yep.
got a P&D satin finish
Okay.
and the S proof and yeah, the satin finishes and the S proof are copper,
Hmm.
and then they could only be found in mint sets.
Hmm.
So you can find business strikes all over. I mean, I'm still finding business strikes in pocket change I get from the local 7-Eleven. So there are too many of those darn things produced.
So talk about specifically how you are collecting them and
Um,
your requirements for this specialty set.
when I put this specialty set together, I started like, all right, I'm going to try to put a graded set together. So you could get on any of the online sales
Platform.
websites,
Yeah, platforms. Yep.
platforms. Thank you. And then you could buy them as singles. But I wanted to get like on my 2009 and 2009D, I wanted them with the same type of label uh, across the four designs. So I had to buy them that way. So I had to wait for those particular coins to show up on the platform for me to buy them. So all the labels match. That's my little match. That's my little thing. So once I finished that, then I was able to find a matching label of the proofs.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right. And then the hardest ones were for me to find were the P&D and all four reverses in the satin graded as a set. Because every one that I had them, they were selling them individually.
Individually. Yep.
And I was able to find one as a complete set. I did not even hesitate. I hit that button so darn fast. One that I've been looking for. That is one set I have been looking for. And with all of my efforts, I was able to put together the 2009 master set of the pennies in all four designs.
So, in your graded set, what is your grade minimum that you have for them?
Okay, all four designs, the P and D business strikes. You know what? Let's just do this.
Because this really gets into the fine details of like what the specialty collecting piece of it is the fact that you have put together a quote unquote master set, but you have your prerequisites or your standards for what the set is going to be built as. What do you got? What's up, Coin Dragon?
So on the P and D business strike, I got them all in Annex MS67 red.
Okay.
The P and D satin finish. I got them all in PCGS 68 red.
Okay.
And all the 2009 S proofs, I got them in NGC proof 69 red. Now, I got all three grading companies. I understand that. It bothers me a little bit. I'd like to get them all in the same grading company because I think that would just be a little bit more special in my eyes.
Okay.
So I still search for these things and trying to find them all, buy them as a set. But I'm not going to go down in grade to complete the set.
So if you were going to up upgrade them, are you looking at like getting a MS68 or an MS69 to match the proof? Like which way are you going with it?
Um, if when I'm looking at the upgrade, I would like to at least get PCGS or NGC in the same grade to replace the annex.
Okay.
All right. But then I've also been looking at it that, okay, well, maybe I need to put three sets together, three master sets from each grading company.
That sounds expensive.
It is. It is. It's going to be expensive, but it's always been in the back of my mind. I can't shake it. So eventually, it's probably going to happen.
So we have in the chat Coin Dragon, who is also a fellow specialty um uh fellow specialty collector, because he is a specialty collector in all things woody.
What's going
So
on, Dragon Man? Good to see you, brother.
Coin Dragon um has been a well-known staple in the coin community for as long as I've been in the coin community, for those early Lincolns and his collection of wood grain. I believe he was working on almost an entire set of wood grains, which he has a quite a collection as it was a few years ago that I remember seeing it. So all the more reason that that people will collect the specialty sides of things, because they like it. And what's really neat is that even if you are working in a specialty space like Flying Eagles, like Jeffersons, like the 2009 Lincolns, like the Woodies, is that they are all appreciated by everyone in the community. And that's one thing that I really want to get across to everybody that is, maybe afraid of getting into, or not really afraid of getting into specialty, but like afraid of what others might think about, you know, that about them only wanting to focus on one thing. Is like there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you talk to anybody in the coin community, like everybody has different, aspects that they really dig into, and there is going to be something that just clicks with somebody, and that will just continue to drive them. So Flying Eagles has been my thing. Jefferson Nichols has been Blues thing. Those Woodies, man, Coin Dragons got us all beat. I can guarantee that pretty easily. I started getting into the commemoratives, and it's just something about these, going down the rabbit hole, as it were, for some of these coins, the coin types or coin series. Blues is laughing because he knows that I've talked about commemoratives since like, I don't know, the last like 3 years because of reasons.
No, I'm laughing because you mentioned the rabbit hole that we all fall
Yeah,
in.
the rabbit hole, because like it's just something that we pick up on and that continues to drive us. That's okay. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, I still have my collection of early coins that I pulled aside that were wood grain. And I want to say that maybe I sent a couple of them to Coin Dragon or not. I thought maybe I did. Um, but my particular rabbit hole had splinters. Oh, Coin Dragon. Oof. But he's also not wrong. Like some of the examples that we've seen Frank have in some of his wood grain they are breathtaking. The amount of almost lack of effort that would have to go into the mismanagement the of the metallurgy for these coins to look like how they do, like, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal that you can get a giant glob of tin right through the middle of a Lincoln set, and somehow like it's retained, but in a metal configuration that, other than the pressure that it took to create the coin, those two things should not be together because there's no bonding between them.
Well, what kind of strikes me kind of on a funny side is, I mean, the mint is getting these rolls or these sheets of the copper to stamp out all of these coins. They're feeding it through the machine. They're looking at it and going, that's good enough. And they send it on through. It's
Well,
like,
I think there is some take to that, because especially like, I don't know how much of that you remember of the show that we did on the mints, where we did talked about the history of the mints.
mm-hmm,
Um, and so there's a couple of things that particularly come into my mind from that show when we're talking about wood grain. So the original Philly Mint was that building, and it had the foundry in the basement driven by horses.
yeah.
So like, thinking about what that configuration, that foundry, that mixing of the metals, like that kind of situation, yeah, like those practices of mixing and melting the chemical compositions was just probably not as robust as what it is now. But that's what they used to make the ingots that they rolled out, that they put into the coin presses to get the coins that we have. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And then as over time, especially after that building, burned down, and then they started going into more, more purpose-built buildings and structures for the Mint, that you got into better mechanical controls and better metallurgy controls to have, to basically mitigate the issues in the wood grains, or the issues that would cause the wood grains that we would see. So I think especially the early times, those wood grains is like, it technically is an error coin, yes, because it's an improperly mixed metal content. Um, but I think it also really plays into the history of our coinage in the early 1900s.
Yeah. Isn't, I mean, all the all the coin sheet rolls that they get, that's all done by private company now, ain't it?
So most of the as far as modern, yeah, m most of the rolls that they get in that they use to blank will come in on rolls.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't think they do anything in-house. And I think that the rolled only applies to some of the denominations, because I think some of the other denominations, the entire blanking process is actually contracted out. And the reason why I say that is that I remember a spill of blank Lincoln
Oh,
cents
yeah, all over the
in
highway.
2013 all over the highway.
Yeah. What a
So
mess.
I have one or two of those from that spill, which is just neat as heck. But that kind of thing, it is, yeah, from Dustin. Um, yeah, rest in peace, man. Um, that from that particular spill, so that would, that would lead support of that some denominations is just not cost effective to do it in house, so they contract it out and just get the blanks in. But on some of the other coins, as you could see from some of the B-roll footage from the different mints, is that they will have that sheet, that rolled metal that they will blank out and then turn those into coins.
You know those mint workers at the bottom of the basement making these sheets for these blanks. They're like, wonder what happens if we add an extra pound of tin to it.
I think, especially considering that the time that there is going to be a lot of, this is the closest, like, what did we do on Tuesday? Well, this is the closest to what we have. And
Anybody write
like
that recipe down, or are we just guessing today?
like yeah, I feel like that, like, there may be some days that it's like, oh, hey, I threw in an extra, 2 ingots of tin this time versus the ingots that we did last week, or whatever. Like, that's, all of the normal, like, production, like, not snafus, but the I don't even know how to call it. Um like the variations that naturally happen with production processes, just the natural variations of, as things like change and move around, like things change a little bit. That's what I imagine, like the change of the different metals. Yeah, Coin Dragon is like, hey, let's try this.
Right.
like it's within, like, the parameters of, like, what is expected for that metal content. Um but maybe week week 23, it's extra heavy in the tin side of it, and then week 32, it's way heavier on the copper side. Like, that, those are the just kind of the things that I imagine with the production process of our early coinage.
You imagine coming across the old time paperwork that they had to, they're like, okay, so much of this, so much of this, so much of this. And on a piece of paper, it goes zinc ingots between 5 and 10 bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, this week we're running 6. Next week we're going to run 9.
Yeah, like, that's exactly what I just, like, imagined that situation to be like, is like, maybe it's 7 instead of 6, or maybe our shipment in for this week, we only got 18 bars and we need to make that last. So now instead of running, you know, the 3 ingots per, per batch, now it's only down to one and a half or two, or
Oh goodness, we have a lot of fun speculating on this whole thing and how they could possibly mess it up anymore. But
well, but that's
when you really look down to it, those woodies, I mean, that is just another aspect of a specialty collection.
yeah,
So instead of just going, I'm going to get one of each of the wheatback scents. Well, crap. Well, three in my collection are woody, so I got to replace those with non-woody so my set matches. Well, now I got three woodies. Well, now I got to collect the rest of them. So just little things like that will actually turn a collector's eye into a specialty subset or sub collection to something. So yeah, I mean, we're picking on the mint workers and their recipes and their ability to count and figure all this stuff out, but in the long run, we love them every bit for that variation of the improper alloyed mix because it just opened up us collectors' eyes into doing these little subsets on top of our master sets. So
yeah.
it's
So, um, think about doing like another one that I was talking about, um, the multi-denominational clashes. Like that's a specialty set because just based off of the Flying Eagles and my wanting to complete the full set of the Flying Eagle snow varieties, like now I'm just like, hey, what if I put together a set of the multi-denominational classes, which is kind of on the same lines of a specialty set because it would include the Flying Eagle 789, but also their respective coins on the opposite side of those dies. So there is the gold coin, which I probably won't have, but it would be nice. There is the half dollar. There is the uh, what is it? The half dollar and the quarter, the seated quarter. But then there is also a 2 cent with an Indian head multi-denominational clash. So then I would have to collect that set as well. So there is, six more coins that I would have to put a specialty set of multi-denominational clashes together. You
sounds like
know, and
six more figures in your paycheck you need to find.
oh, I know, right?
Yeah, and but then if I mean you could even go as far and get some of the modern stuff where they had the was it the Susan B. Anthony that had the quarter reverse,
Yes, and that is one that I really don't think
or
that's
was it the quarter reverse with the Susan B. Anthony?
no, it was the Susan B with the quarter reverse.
And I believe there was a in the 90s there was a Lincoln set that had a dime reverse.
There has those are more like full error coins that are one-offs versus these multi-denominational clashes because they have they have struck hundreds of coins. So this one right here, because Frank said so, right there, 1864 clash with Indian cent obverse, and this is for a 2 cent.
Ooh, guess we're tearing up eBay later, huh?
So that, but that's something that I look for because when we're talking about, specialty, like that is a specialty by itself. Like if you want to collect both sides of these multi-denominational clashes, like here's your checklist is right here.
The even working with these specialty collections and stuff like that, you're really improving your knowledge on the coins overall. So, I mean, a novice coin collector would be like, yeah, I got a 1960 to 2024 penny set put together. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. But now it's kind of like, well, have you looked at getting this to go with them? So when they hear about us talking about these little subsets and these little the little niches within a set, it's also going to open up collectors' eyes. It's like, man, I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Thanks for
But
that.
also, yeah, for sure. But that's for that same thing. Like the thing that we go after is, just imagine, okay, so tomorrow you find that one last coin that you need. What's next?
Yeah, well, I kind of know
Be-
what's next, but I don't want to talk about how small this coin is.
oh, it's probably 3 cent silvers. Yeah. Yeah. Pro if I was gonna guess, that's what I would guess because
Yeah, the notorious 3 cent nickel that I can't wrap my head around. Is it 3 cents or is it a nickel?
it's a 3 cent nickel. If I were to finish a set of my flyers, I'll just say the flyers because I'll include the 1858s in there as well. And I had um the full set of multi-denominational clashes. Then the next one that I would have would be um gosh, what would it be? Um, I just had it. I just had it in my head and I totally forgot it.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, like I would have to I would have to finish the commemorative series and all of their variations, which are just hard.
A lot.
They're just they're just hard. Especially in any kind of MS condition. I was at I went to my first coin show here a few ish weeks back, and yeah, I was ill prepared for what was going on inside that coin show. But I did find some super neat ones that would look really good with my commemoratives and like the Isabella quarter. I saw one of those. I saw the 1900 Lafayette dollar. I'm just like, oh, oh,
Stuff you've only seen pictures of, but now it's right in front of you. It's like,
yes. The things
oh,
that I've only seen pictures of, the thing that I've only like done the research on, and I'm just like, bro, just what is going on?
mm-hmm.
Coin Dragon says 3D printed multi-denoms with matching dies. Huh. Um, that could
Oof.
be a thing. I think I would have to change what kind of medium that I use because some of those some of well, maybe they could be exaggerated.
Yeah. I mean, if you're making something up,
Hmm.
the
Okay. I'm gonna have to think about that one now.
your you're talking about other sets after we complete this and complete that. I just want to point out that don't forget the other transitional on a nickel.
The other transitional on the nickel.
The other transitional reverse on a nickel.
Which nickel are we talking about?
And it goes all the way back to the 1913.
Are we talking about the 1913 Buffalo transitional?
Yep, because they had the two different reverses on them.
Oh. Yeah, so 1913 Buffalo. The first version came with the buffalo that was standing on a raised mound that said 5 cents. That had, I think, Philly, Denver, and San Francisco.
Philly, Denver, and San Francisco.
Nice, solid. And then they changed it to have like a cutaway view. And the reason why they changed it is to make the 5 cents last longer because basically the 5 cents was the highest thing on the coin. So it wore away the first. So all you would have is the back of this buffalo nickel with this mound and a buffalo and no denomination notation. So then you get this like this section of ground and it's cut off, and then inside in relief you have 5 cents, and that is the type 2. So to get a full set, you would have to get both type 1 and type 2 of the 1913 Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Woof.
Woof.
Woof. But that, like, so there is another example of a specialty collection is putting together a set of 1913s, 1913 Buffaloes type 1 and type 2. And what's really kind of funny though is that you see these types of kind of like variations and these like smaller specialty areas that pop up whenever you have transitional happenings with designs. Um, so the 1972 Eisenhower, there's 3 different reverses. So like if you want to complete an entire collection of an Eisenhower set, you would have to collect all 3 versions of the 1972 the different reverses. Now, also consider that you have the silver and the silver proofs. So there's 2 other coins that you would need other than just your standard business strike. But also consider that for the 76, there is also the bicentennial, there is also a type 1 and type 2 in the business strike and the proof. So the business strike P and D for type 1, type 2, so there's 4 coins. And then you have the proof type 1, type 2. So there's another set of coins that you would need as well.
Is the 76 the one with the block letters on the reverse?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the type 1 has the block letter. So if you look at the T is really blocky, which they had a lot of issues with that design. And if you actually look on my channel, I've got a video that actually goes through and describes the difference between type 1 and type 2. At some point in 2018, it took off. It's magically hit the algorithm or something, so I have 100,000+ views on that video alone. Nothing else has been popular, just that one video.
Yeah.
But and then so after they noticed that they had a lot of issues with the design, they came back in and redesigned the reverse and had much more thin and much more straight, like angled edges for the T, and that's how you tell the type 1 and type 2. So there are some opportunities for some mini specialty sets whenever there is a transition or a change of design.
Yeah, and always remember some of this information that we're pulling from, like on the Eisenhowers and the Buffalo Nickels and stuff. That information is in the Red Book,
Yep. Or it's in my brain.
or it's in your brain. So, I mean, the Red Book is, I would consider this to be like our Bible, mainly because it's going to give us the mintages and what was produced. Don't pay attention to any of the price columns, but it's going to give you a complete date set and mintages. And then any of those varieties, transitional reverse designs and stuff like that that came out, they're going to be listed in there. Not all of them. The 13 is, the Ikes are. Um,
The 2009 Your Set, it has its own page.
yeah, the 2009 has its own page. So, yeah. So
And look at that.
it
Look at that. It has its own page. Its
it
own
has,
full page.
yeah,
It's super special. It's got its own page.
this super special collector got him too.
The other thing that you could get into with specialty collecting or collections is by going off the beaten path a little bit. So exonumia is also one that I've talked about before. One that I'm particularly interested in is collecting coins and tokens and stuff from international expos and world fairs, because there is a number of coins and everything that you can get from one particular event. So the 1892, 1893 Columbian World's Exposition, um, the 1904 Louisiana Purchase. Those are individual ones that have a lot of coins and stuff that were minted and created um, for that event. I mean, just looking at so I've got a book, the so-called dollars, and in this book for the so-called dollars, that um um what was I thinking about? Oh, that there are these coins that are minted specifically for these event, and that if you wanted to go through, you can actually go through and collect them from all of these events. And there are some events that there are mm, quite many multiples. I don't want to say hundreds, but almost. Like the 1892, 1893 Columbian Exposition. In this book, which is this one right here by oh this one right here by Shelvin. The 1892, 1893, it's got like 17 pages of coins just from the Columbian World's Exposition. And that's a lot of coins that if you wanted to collect all of the coins, all of the tokens and everything that was made from a single event, that is a specialty collection all in itself. So that's also something to basically look at, is that it doesn't have to be coins. It can also be exonumia, which is coin related things. That based off of historical events or historical things like this. So there's lots of different ways that you could collect from. And I lost my book. All right, it's staying there. Um, so when you're looking at specialty collecting, it could also be proof sets, or the this the silver proof sets. There is the prestige sets. There is plenty of different collecting options that you can pick from based off of what you want to collect and what really calls out to you. So, what I would say is that from a collector's standpoint, don't be afraid to get into something that interests you. And you don't have to fill up a book, or you don't have to, do custom album pages or any of that. You don't have to do that. You can really just collect what you want, and it's again, and it doesn't matter because as people in the coin community, we like all of the coins. Allow me to play the call of my people. um that you know that you can collect things that you find interesting, and it's it's not anything bad, and it's not like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
I want to like make sure that like anybody that's watching this feels like, hey, I can go out and collect anything I want, because like I'm not going to be shunned, or like there's nothing wrong with collecting just specialty. Like if Blues was only collecting the 1913 and the 38, 39, 40 of the Jeffersons and didn't collect anything else, it would not bother me at all, because I think that's, there it means so much more to him to collect those specific things than the filling an album or filling a book. Where when I started collecting, I started with filling a trifold, right? I wanted to collect one of everything, and it's evolved from that to now I get it has devolved into the chaos that is my
Yeah.
life right now, with all of these binders and everything back here that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that I'm starting to get more into albums and really defining what I want to collect, and then purging out the stuff that I don't, that doesn't suit me anymore. So
Yeah.
that was a
Just
lot of soapbox.
yeah. Just find your niche. Find the thing that interests you and pursue it. Now, if you start doing it and then you're like, yeah, this is kind of fun, but I'm not really into it. I mean, that's fine. You still have some in your collection that you kind of go back on and look at, and then it's okay. I jump back and forth between what I'm going to try to fill a book with. So just gotta find your niche, your what what you find appealing, and just roll with it. Have fun. Remember, this should not be a job.
Right.
So this should be fun time and relaxed time and learning time and play time. It's everything. So and there's my soapbox. And then if you get stuck and you're not sure how big of a shovel you need to dig that rabbit hole, get a hold of one of us. We could take some dirt out for you and point you into a direction and let you roll with that. Because our rabbit holes are craters right now. So
Oh my gosh, they look like
it's like
um
a minefield.
yeah.
What am
Well,
I?
I was gonna say it looks like craters on the moon. Is that
Yeah.
there's just like pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. Yeah, Coin Dragon says, put them away. Don't think a lot about them. Just hang on to whatever they're in case you move. One day, the ones you forgot will be someone else's fun with any luck. There is a lot of life situations that takes you away from the coins. And as long as you have them stored appropriately, the best thing is that you can come back to them.
Yeah. Got anything else?
No, that was it. There was a there was a lot of specialty stuff.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
as we were talking through it, and as we kind of talked about the different things, I was like, oh, that's also a specialty piece too. And then oh, okay, yeah, the Eisenhowers, and oh wait, what are the type 1, type 2s? And I'm like, ooh,
yeah, it's
this is turned into a rabbit hole in itself.
it, it could be a mess sometimes. So
Facts.
just roll with it. Have fun. You could find us somehow. You could find us
Yeah,
if
you
you
can
have any.
always send me a message on YouTube, or CJ's coincrafts at gmail.com, in case you want to reach out. But I'm always around. You can also reach me on my eBay store as well. Let's see. Coin Dragon says I only collect Lincoln Memorial die clashes where I can read at least 2 letters of the Liberty on the reverse. Those are pretty strong clashes if you can read those letters on the reverse, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's solid.
That's solid.
All right, that's all we had for this week's topic. This has been Monday Night Coin Talk with CJ and Blues Coins, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Y'all peace out.